Today we are back in the 2026 Toyota RAV4 GR Sport. We're going to be doing a quick drive on this today. We're at the Mama Spring Rally driving a bunch of vehicles back to back, and I wanted to get some more seat time in this, mostly just kind of for personal interest reasons, thinking about maybe getting one of these as our next car. Haven't fully decided on the GR Sport, but the new RAV4 is looking mighty enticing, either in hybrid or plug-in hybrid form. This, of course, is a plug-in hybrid. It has the J1772 port. It'll do about 4950 miles on a full charge. And of course, you've got a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. It makes a combined power output of 324 horsepower. It has a 7 kilowatt onboard charger. It's interesting. This GR Sport and the SE have the J1772 charge port with a 7 kilowatt onboard charger. The XSE and the Woodland have a level 3 11 kilowatt charge port, which is just a little bit more. It's just a bit of a differentiation. They also have a slightly different charge connector. So not sure the reasoning behind that difference. You're not necessarily going to be able to fast charge this on a road trip or something like that, but just something interesting to note with these new RAV4s. And of course, if you're charging at home, again, with level 2, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. All right, let's start on the back here. Check out cargo space. We've got a really nice low load floor, good amount of room back here, room for strollers, room for things, nice cargo cover. I like that. Keep those prying eyes away. We do not. Oh, we do get a spare tire. Ah, joy of joys. I saw this little hump and I thought it was full of battery pack, but it's not. Toyota does such a nice job with their packaging on their RAV4. Back seat room. These front seats are a little bit narrower than they used to be, and I think we have a bit better space here for a rear-facing child seat, especially on that passenger side. I like the red seat piping, the red stitching. Overall, the interior is still a little bit dark and bland in this GR Sport. I wouldn't mind a bit more pizzazz, but it's subtle and not overboard, which is very typical of Toyotas. Lots of room to put your feet down here in the back seat. You've got 2 vents, which is nice for the kids, nice for families. 2 15-watt USB-C ports, same with up front. Those are labeled too. Headroom is excellent. No sunroof here getting in the way, so there's tons and tons of roof height. The RAV4 has always kind of been that perfect size family SUV crossover. One thing I can see being a little bit of an issue, this door doesn't open up a ton. It's not like the Mazda CX-5 where it opens up 90 degrees, and this could get in the way potentially moving car seats in and out on a regular basis. But if they're fixed, that's not a big of a deal. Latch attachments are pretty easy to access here. Seat belts stay kept down below. Very good. All right. The GR Sport has lots of enhancements with aerodynamics, brakes, suspension. Now, this isn't a full-blown GR product. It's a GR Sport, so it's not meant to really kind of be compared with the likes of the GR Corolla, the Supra, the GR86. But still, on my initial drive with this RAV4 GR Sport, I noticed that it was a lot more dynamically enjoyable and capable than the standard RAV4. We have a set of Bridgestone Turanza EL450 tires here in 235/50 R20s, so a little larger of a wheel and a little narrow of a sidewall and wider of a tire. This new interior is big news for the new RAV4. We still have a lot of physical controls and buttons on the steering wheel to control your cruise control, your track selection, your menu navigation. You even get a physical dimmer switch for the gauge cluster, though this display you can go in here and dim that for night driving, which is good. Love that quick, easy access. You have fan speed controls, heated seats and heated steering wheel controls right here as a constant menu on the screen. No physical buttons, but they're nicely separated, and you've got a little bit of a ledge to rest your hand on and stabilize your inputs here, which is good. Physical buttons for temperature, which is good to see. Drive mode selection, Eco, Sport, Custom, and Normal drive modes there. And Auto, EV, and Hybrid vehicle changeover. They've gotten rid of the EV charge mode, that the engine charges the battery. People just weren't using it. It wasn't necessary. Kind of a bummer because it was nice to be able to cruise on the highway, charge your battery for when you're driving around town or if you're on a road trip, but I could see it sapping fuel economy away. This is rated for about 37 miles to the gallon without any charge in the battery. And otherwise, like I said, you'll get about 49, 50 miles of charge out of this with a full battery. Right now, we don't have any charge in the battery, so we're just going to be driving this around in hybrid mode. You've got some trail modes too. Snow, trail, that's it. And normal mode, all right. Let's see, I think that's probably your all-wheel drive too. Normal, eco, and sport. It's interesting, there's a dedicated button just for normal mode. Quick access camera view button right there. Really nice cameras in this RAV4. There's your forward-facing camera, there's your reverse-facing camera. Faces pretty low, down too. Interesting to see. Parking brake, brake hold functions right there. This center console opens up both ways, and it also just comes out completely. Look at that. Did not know that when I first reviewed the RAV4. Got a good sized glove box. Nice place to put things right here. Headrests, seats, some anti-static material in this interior to improve aerodynamics, allegedly. Sounds like some witchcraft to me, but I don't know. I think maybe there might be something to it. Good turning radius, good size, good visibility. The big win with the new RAV4 is just the potential fuel range you could see with one of these cars. The hybrid can get over 500 miles to a tank. The plug-in hybrid depends how much you're willing to charge. All right, we're going to start off. We're just going to leave this in sport mode, I think. Suspension's a little bit firmer than the regular RAV4. That's to be expected, this being the GR Sport. Throttle map is conservative still, not over boosted on initial tip-in. Steering has a little bit of heft and weight to it, but that front end is so sharp for a Toyota RAV4. Going from this new generation to the previous generation plug-in hybrid RAV4, you wouldn't even recognize the two cars blindfolded in the passenger seat. It's such a difference dynamically. This is so well buttoned down. Oh, there's a lot of power here. 324 net combined horsepower. It's fast. It's very fast. All right, off we go. Nice power distribution there on launch with a little bit of a steering lock going around that corner. Internal dash cam is saving an incident because we saw a high G situation under acceleration. See how it does over these railroad tracks. Yeah, it still rides nice. Brakes feel great. Really nice linear pedal. Good bite. I'm just really impressed with the acceleration and overall dynamic capabilities of this car. Let's go into our dash cam settings here. Driver intention. Here we go. Drive recorder. Preferences. Let's disable the drive recorder. Here we go. Infotainment system is different. This is a bit of a change for Toyota. It's responsive. It's pretty well organized and laid out. I don't have too many complaints with it. All right. Let's take a couple corners here. We're going to go into sport mode. Small amount of tire squeal, but it gets around a corner really well. It's flat. Let's knock off a little 0 to 60 here. Wow. Bit of torque steer too. Steering, good on center feel, nice and solid. This feels like an autocrosser got a hold of a RAV4, tweaked the suspension, got some bigger, wider tires on here. Everything's kind of pushed out to the edges. It feels wider, it feels more stable, like it's kind of walking around like this. It's a really well-balanced, performance-oriented crossover. I'm blown away by what Toyota has done here. I was impressed on initial impressions of what this could do, and after spending some more time behind the wheel, it's still delivering. There's just so much torque. The 2.5 liter isn't droney or too loud. Let's try a different drive mode. Let's try just normal. Cruise control is easy to set. There's your lane centering. Change your following distance pretty easily here. Driver inattention is a bit annoying in that it's always coming up. If you need to look down to do anything, it's going to pop up and remind you to pay attention. There might be a way to turn that off or down. Toyota, in true form, always beeping at you. It's quiet at speed. The XSE that we drove a couple months ago was quiet. The GR Sport, also quiet. Pricing. This comes in at around $50,000, so it's expensive. It's up there. But you could do worse for 50 grand. And this GR Sport definitely isn't going to be for everyone. But for some spirited back road driving, a little bit of canyon carving here and there, it really does handle well. And the power is addictive. It's finally feeling matched to the power level. The chassis control and body control and handling and mechanical grip of this chassis is well matched to the power level. That wasn't the case with the previous generation plug-in hybrid RAV4. It felt overpowered, wallowy, unstable around corners, a little bit sketchy. But this is all about where it should be in terms of suspension firmness, braking feel, body roll. It's fun. I like it. Will my wife like it? Probably. I'm thinking so. I like the steering wheel too. Plastic treatment down here feels really nice. The buttons feel good. This red stitching adds a bit of sportiness to things. It's definitely firmer than the standard RAV4, but it's tuned in a way that it just feels really solid and composed. It's never too jarring or uncomfortable. We'll see if we can get a chance to live with one of these for a week or so back home. Curious to see how this does over a few days. That driver inattention warning is really annoying. Wondering if there's a way to turn that off. Aha. Driver monitor. Warning sensitivity. High. Off. There it is. Driver brake suggestion. Driver monitor camera. Yeah, we're just going to turn all that nonsense off. Good. You can do it. And there it is. Okay. Well, that kind of sells me on the RAV4. Whether it's a GR Sport or a XSE or an XLE or a hybrid or plug-in hybrid, I think they're all kind of the same. The Woodland is pretty nice. I think this would be fun, though, to have and maybe do a little bit of rallycross with, do some performance driving with, maybe throw some sticky tires on it, autocross it a little bit in the summer. I don't know. I feel like I could have some fun with this GR Sport in ways that I wouldn't normally have fun with a RAV4. And it just kind of opens up that performance enthusiast envelope a bit. If you need an efficient, practical, reliable family crossover and you want to have a little bit of fun with it, this might be a really good option. Okay, well, there's some more driving impressions on the 2026 RAV4. Now that we finally have pricing on this, it's exactly what I was expecting it to be. It's 50 grand. We'll see how it shakes out with some more time behind the wheel, see how my wife likes it, and maybe we'll get one of these later this year if we don't have any more long-termers coming through. This is a pretty compelling purchase. It's pricey for a RAV4. Don't get me wrong. You could save quite a bit of money getting into a mid-trim hybrid. But I still think this is kind of cool. All right, that's going to be a wrap for this one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. A bit of food for thought, kind of a more personal drive here on this one, but yeah, just things to consider.